Hey everyone, it's Exo Man, and if you're a Glen Campbell fan, you probably know the news. You've heard the news that he died today. Very sad, somewhat expected. He was suffering with Alzheimer's, and yeah, I was a real big, always been a big fan of Glen Campbell's, and just love his style of music. He was just a brilliant recording artist and guitarist and singer.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to have a personal story about Glen Campbell, and I don't know if I ever shared it, and it was a really interesting occurrence. It was Mardi Gras. He was the King of Bacchus, and I don't remember, I think it was 1972. He was the King of Bacchus, and Glen Campbell made no, it was no secret. He talked about his drug use and drunkenness in the 70s. He had a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol. And I think he had probably wrote with his memoirs and talked about that at length. But he was excessively drunk that night of Bacchus, and I had a rare occasion to visit with my father, my ne'er-do-well father, as I call him.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Bacchus parade, and we were down on Canal Street in New Orleans, and I vividly remember this because it was profound. And being the King of Bacchus, each king has a slightly different costume, I guess. And Glen Campbell's costume for the evening was a rhinestone jacket.
Rhinestone Cowboy.
He was the Rhinestone Cowboy. He had just recently had that huge hit, Rhinestone Cowboy. So he had rhinestone jacket, rhinestone pants, a scepter, a crown, etc. I think he even had rhinestone gloves. And he was fallen down drunk. If you've ever been to Mardi Gras, you know the floats are very, very high. And when you are near the floats, they are way above you, the people throwing the trinkets out to the crowd. I yelled to Glen Campbell and got his attention because the float happened to stall right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my father's shoulders as a boy, and I said, "Glen, throw me something, throw me something." He had no doubloons left. This was towards the end of the route. He had nothing. He leaned over. He said, "Okay, hold on," and he leaned over to look in his bag. And his crown did falleth up from off his head. And where did it land?
In your hands.
In my arms.
Oh my gosh.
I caught the King of Bacchus, Glen Campbell's crown in my arms. And
Score!
what did happen?
Somebody attacked you.
The crowd went nuts. And there were these two women leapt upon my father. My father was 6'6" or something like that. He was a very tall man. But they leapt on him and they were clawing their way up to me. They were going to get that crown.
Oh man.
And they were attacking my father, and he started kicking these women off.
Yikes.
They were project women. They were not having it any other way. They were going to have that crown. And so my father's sticking his foot out, slamming these women with his foot, and I'm fighting to keep a hold of the crown. And we walked back a little bit, and I gave my father the crown, and he shoved it under his jacket, or I shoved it under my jacket, I can't remember which. But then I said, what should I do? What should I do? He said, "What do you want to do?" I said,
Give it back to him.
"Shouldn't I give it back to him?"
Oh, what
And
a
they're
nice
drunk
little
Glen
guy.
Campbell. I've done things like this in my life that I kind of regretted, but it was the right thing. And I said, "I should give it back, huh, Dad?" And he said, "If you want to." And so we made our way through this crowd. And I said, "Mr. Campbell, Glen Campbell, I have your crown." And I threw it back to him.
And he caught it?
I don't remember. I know I know it went into the float. I don't remember. I remember throwing it back to him. Yeah, he had to get it.
Oh, you're such
But,
a good guy.
But that was my one and only encounter with a man who I'm very fond of as an artist.
Yeah.
And what is wrong with you?
He's
It's
been
just kind of
cooped up all day.
just kind of a sad day. It's a rainy day today, and I've been kind of waiting for this day. I kind of hoped it wouldn't come so soon, but he was, after all, 80. one.
That's so young, I feel.
It's still pretty young, but
Yeah.
he lived a good life. He partied hard for many years, and you know, that can have an effect. It can have a very detrimental effect. And
Yeah.
I imagine that in part was what may have caused his illness. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, Glen Campbell. Listen to some Glen Campbell, people.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
That's my story. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for indulging me in my story about Glen Campbell.